Jai Shri Krishna. Welcome back to my channel. Um, Let me introduce you again to our listening partners today. This is Blueberry and this is Bumtu, and I will not spell it today. Embarrassing myself once was enough. Today we are reading Bhagavad Gita, and this is the book, and we are on page number 120. Contents of the Gita summarized, that is chapter 2, and 2.48 is the page number, I think. I'm not sure what is that part called, but it's 2.48. Next time I'll come prepared. So we stopped at text 47. We'll start with text 48. Okay. Yogasthah kuru karmani sangat tvaktva dhananjaya सिद्ध्य सिद्ध्योः समो भूत्वा समत्वः योग उच्यते. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Krishna tells Arjuna that he should act in yoga. And what is that yoga? Yoga means yog. Let's not say yoga, it is yog. Krishna tells Arjuna that he should act in yoga. And what is that yoga? Yoga means concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever-disturbing senses. And who is the Supreme? The Supreme is the Lord. And because he himself is telling Arjuna to fight, Arjuna has nothing to do with the results of the fight. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna. The following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga, and this is practiced in the process called Krishna consciousness. By Krishna consciousness only can one give up the sense of proprietorship. I think कोई भी लैंग्वेज बराबर से बोल नहीं पा रही हूँ मैं. इट्स ओके, आई लर्न. One has to become the servant of Krishna or the servant of Krishna. That is the right way to discharge duty in Krishna consciousness, which alone can help one to act in yoga. Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and as such he is participating in the Varnasrama Dharma institution. It is said in the Vishnu Puran that in the Varnasrama Dharma, the whole aim is to satisfy Vishnu. No one should satisfy himself, as is the rule in the material world, but one should satisfy Krishna. So unless one satisfies Krishna, one cannot correctly observe the principles of Varnasrama Dharma. Indirectly, Arjuna was advised to act as Krishna told him. Text 49. Durena ह्य अवरम कर्म बुद्धि योगाद धनंजय बुधौ बुद्धौ शरणम् अन्विच्य कृपानाः फल हेतवः. O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. One who has actually come to understand one's constitutional position as an eternal servitor of the Lord gives up all engagements save working in Krishna consciousness. As already explained, Buddhi Yoga means transcendental loving service to the Lord. Such devotional service is the right course of action for the living entity. Only misers desire to enjoy the fruit of their own work just to be further entangled in material bondage. Except for work in Krishna consciousness, all activities are abominable because they continually bind the worker to the cycle of birth and death. One should therefore never desire to be the cause of work. Everything should be done in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of Krishna. Misers do not know how to utilize the assets of riches which they acquire by good fortune or by hard labor. One should spend all energies working in Krishna consciousness, and that will make one's life successful. Like misers, unfortunate people do not employ their human energy in the service of the Lord. Perhaps it's because I am not associated with ISKCON and I am not familiar with how they preach. This all feels very strict and I wouldn't want to use the word negative, but it feels a little too, I don't know. It doesn't feel as if it's out of love. It's as if loving Krishna is a duty. Something that you must do, otherwise you are wrong. And that is not what bhakti is about. According to me and from what I have experienced, I don't think that is it. When you fall in love, everything comes out of love. Perhaps that is what they want to say. See, before I fell into bhakti, I fell in love with bhakti, I fell in love with Krishna. Everything was quite simple, quite just to do, and it did not mean anything because anything did not have any feelings. But once I got into bhakti, I got into loving Krishna, which again is a blessing by Krishna himself. But when that happened, since then on or from then on, I have started to learn that universe is in the cohort of thinking for me. And this me that is pleased by very small things that once would have rejected huge things is what is quite drastic. ठीक है? Everything becomes so lovely, so pure that it feels transcendental. So I'm not sure which way this text is pointing towards, but loving Krishna is not a duty that you have to do. Okay, you are not supposed to pray to him just because that's the right way to live. It helps because things become magical, things become good. And you realize that goodness only once you get into it. Moving on. Text 50. Buddhi yukto jahatiha Ubhe Sukrata Duskrata Sukrata Duskrate Tasmad Yogaya Yujyasva Yogah Karmasu Kaushalam. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. Since time immemorial, each living entity has accumulated the various reactions for his good and bad work. As such, he is continually ignorant of his real constitutional position. One's ignorance can be removed by the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, which teaches one to surrender unto Lord Sri Krishna in all respects and become liberated from the chained victimization of action and reaction, birth after birth. Arjuna is therefore advised to act in Krishna consciousness, the purifying process of resultant action. कर्मजं बुद्धियुक्ता हि फलं त्यक्त्वा मनीषिणः जन्म बन्ध विनिर्मुक्ताः पदं गच्छन्ति अनामयम्. By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead. The liberated living entities belong to that place where there are no material miseries. The Bhagavatam 10.14.58 says, Samasrita ye pada pallava plavam mahat padam punya yasho murare bhavam buddhir vatsa padam padam yad vipadam na tesham. For one who has accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Mukunda, or the giver of Mukti, the ocean of the material world is like the water contained in calf's footprint. Param Padam, or the place where there are no material miseries, or Vaikuntha, is his goal, not the place where there is danger in every step of life. Owing to ignorance, one does not know that this material world is a miserable place where there are dangers at every step. Out of ignorance only, less intelligent persons try to adjust to the situation by fruitive activities, thinking that the resultant actions will make them happy. They do not know that no kind of material body anywhere within the universe can give life without miseries. The miseries of life, namely birth, death, old age, and diseases, are present everywhere within the material world. But one who understands his real constitutional position as the eternal servitor of the Lord and thus knows the position of the personality of Godhead, engages himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Consequently, he becomes qualified to enter the Vaikuntha planets, where there is neither material miserable life nor the influence of time and death. To know one's constitutional position means to know also the sublime position of the Lord. One who wrongly thinks that the living entity's position and the Lord's position are on the same level is to be understood to be in darkness and therefore unable to engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord. He becomes a Lord himself and thus paves the way for the repetition of birth and death. But one who, understanding that his position is to serve, transfers himself to the service of the Lord, at once becomes eligible for Vaikuntha Lok. Service for the cause of the Lord is called Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, or in plain words, devotional service to the Lord. Again, this feels a little biting. Maybe because it's personal, I guess. Personally, I don't think that we have taken birth to suffer. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a soul placed within us that is illuminating with every breath. We carry a piece of the Lord within us. That is the soul, right? Why would it want to suffer? Suffering is a part of life. We are on this planet, we are in this plane of existence for doing a certain purpose, for being a part of life, for being a part of this world, for being a part of this existence, for being a part of this particular frame of time. The more you fall in love with bhakti, I think the more you fall in love with something that you just want to do, and that comes from your soul. That is a piece of his heart, that is a piece of Krishna that you carry within. This creative thing, this corporate thing, you will fall in love with something in your life, and that is Krishna consciousness, according to me. Text 52. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatitar vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुष्टास्य च. यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदं श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च. आज थोड़ा स्मूथली बोल रही हूँ मैं, संस्कृत अच्छा लग रहा है. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. There are many good examples in the lives of the great devotees of the Lord of those who became indifferent to the rituals of the Vedas simply by devotional service to the Lord. When a person factually understands Krishna and his relationship with Krishna, he naturally becomes completely indifferent to the rituals of fruitive activities. Even though an experienced Brahman, Sri Madhavendra Puri, a great devotee and acharya in the line of the devotees, says, Sandhya Vandana Bhadram Astu Bhavato Bhoha Snana Tobhyam Namo Bho Devaha Pitrascha Tarpana Vidho Naham Shamah Shamyatam Yatra Kwapi Nishadya Yadava Kulotam Sasya Kamsa Dvishah Smaram Agham Harami Tad Alam Manye Kim Anyena Me. O my prayers 3 times a day, all glory to you. O bathing, I offer my obeisances unto you. O demigods, O forefathers, please excuse me for my inability to offer you my respects. Now, wherever I sit, I can remember the great descendant of Yadu dynasty, the enemy of Kamsa, and thereby I can free myself from all sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me. I relate with this because Once you start thinking of one particular deity, and for me it's Krishna, so I'll just only talk about him. But I only think of him. Whenever I think of anything else too, it has to be followed, or it has to come after Krishna. And it's not something I am doing actively. I don't have a control on that. It just happens. It is very natural. Whenever you are bathing, you say Har Har Gange, right? Or you thank Ma Ganga for purifying your soul with your body. Sorry, purifying your body with your soul. So, and also, if you don't do that, I suggest you should always offer at least a little prayer when you are before you are bathing, that cleanse me of all negative energies that do not belong to me, and help me purify my thoughts, my mind, my soul, my heart, my being, my body, and whatever that exists in my surrounding. That helps. So basically, that's what I am saying, that whenever I would say this, I'd say that make me pure for my Kanha. And that just comes after very naturally. So whatever this paragraph said, I completely agree with it. And this very line, I think this is sufficient for me. That is just yes, yes, yes. I think this is sufficient for me, and that's very personal. Okay. The Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for neophytes, comprehending all kinds of prayers 3 times a day, taking a bath early in the morning, offering respects to the forefathers, etc. But when one is fully in Krishna consciousness and is engaged on his transcendental loving service, one becomes indifferent to all these regulative principles because he has already attained perfection. If one can reach the platform of understanding by service to the Supreme Lord Krishna, he has no longer to execute different types of penances and sacrifices as recommended in revealed scriptures. And similarly, if one has not understood that the purpose of the Vedas is to reach Krishna and simply engages in the rituals, etc., then he is uselessly wasting time in such engagements. Persons in Krishna consciousness transcend the limit of Shabda Brahma, or the range of the Vedas and Upanishads. Time क्या हुआ? 23. That's good enough. Should we go for 2 more? I think आज के लिए इतना बस है क्या? Or rather, I'll stop this video for a while, then I'll take a break, and then we'll go for another one. Because I don't want to stop here. I was feeling so tired before I started, and now I feel as if थोड़ा और तो कर सकते हैं. So, thank you for joining, and that was till. Sorry, I think I should do that as well. I have to tell you where I stopped. That's good for me as well. So we stopped at text 52, page number 125, 2.53. Contents of the Gita summarized. Let's resume from text 53 in the next video. Radhe Radhe. I love you. Mwah.